English winners, this business English lesson helps you with vocabulary for starting your own web page. The first thing I want you to think of is you have a home. This home is on a piece of land that you own, and you are going to have a party there. Now that you have this picture in your mind, let's talk about building your web page. The first thing you need for your home is an address, so you can receive mail like letters and presents from the post office, right? And you need the same thing for the internet. You need an address that people remember easily. This address is called a domain name. Some examples of domain names are ebay.com, facebook.com, youtube.com. You see, we have a name and then a .com. But you don't only use .com, you also might have .org, like npr.org. That's National Public Radio if you live in the United States. You can also use .gov if you are a government, like you do immigration through state.gov if you want a visa to the United States. And then of course there's .edu if you are a university, like harvard.edu, or maybe you have .info, okay? These are domain names. Also, countries have domain names too, right? So .co.uk, Amazon.co.uk is the web domain name for Amazon in the United Kingdom. Now, a domain name should only cost like $10 per year in most cases, but sometimes you'll have a domain that you really want and somebody else owns and they charge a lot of money for it. That sometimes happens. That's why people sometimes use .info and instead of .com. Does that make sense? So now you have your domain name, that's your address. In our home example, that's where you get your mail. Now your hosting is like the piece of land where you build your house. That's where your website is going to be. Now hosting is just a folder on a computer somewhere that holds your website. And so it might cost a couple dollars per month or more. It depends on the size, the bandwidth. Now bandwidth is how many people are visiting your site and how much activity they are doing. If they're downloading videos or you're trying to be the next YouTube, you're gonna pay a lot for hosting. But if people are just reading articles, it'll be cheaper, right? It's just like our house comparison. If you have a big piece of land, you might need to pay a lot of money. But if you have a small piece of land, you can't have as many people over for your party, but you will also pay less. Does that make sense? So once you know what people are going to do on your website and how many people you want to have come to your website, then you know more about how much you should pay for hosting. I use bluehost.com for my domain, english-win.com. But you can use any web host that works for you. The next thing you have to do is connect your domain name, whatever your name is, .com, .org, whatever, to your hosting. That's like connecting your mailbox to the piece of land that's going to hold your website. And you can ask your web host how to do that, or it may be very easy if you bought your domain and your hosting from the same service. I've done this before with GoDaddy.com, and I've also done this with Bluehost in the past. If you don't know how to do it, the customer service there is usually very good, so ask them if you're confused. Once this is finished, then you type in your domain name, your address, and it should take you to where your hosting is. But there's still one problem. There's no house on the land. No house, no party. You still need a website. Now you can pay a web designer to make the website for you. That's expensive, but you are likely to get everything you want. But you can also do something like WordPress.com. That's a platform that enables you to have your own website using a thing called what you see is what you get. That means you can change the look of your website by clicking different options and dragging things around, maybe, depending on what service you're using. And you can visually design your website without having to know much code. Sometimes you don't need to know any. Believe me, I know very little code. So you can use WordPress or some other platform to make your own website using what you see is what you get interface. Now, what I like a lot about WordPress is they have templates. Templates are specific designs that you can click through and try out on your website. It's like putting on a shirt, then taking it off and putting on a different shirt. You can try them out and see what works for you. And once you hit OK on a template, boom, your website has that look. Okay? So that should make getting your website a lot easier. Now you type in your website address, it goes to a website that now looks mostly the way you want. Now sometimes when you're using a template or you're working with a designer, there are some parts of the websites you want changed a little. Maybe you want the header image changed, maybe you want rounded edges on pictures, maybe you want a drop-down menu or e-commerce where people can buy and sell things on your website. These you can get either by paying a designer to do the work for you or by using something called a widget. A widget is a small piece of code that you can put on your website, and on something like WordPress, you can change where that widget shows up. It's very convenient. In our house example, a widget is like remodeling your kitchen or putting new furniture into your living room, right? You're getting ready for that party. Also, if you're a really great coder, you can use CSS. That stands for Cascading Style Sheets. It's a complicated, fancy way of saying you are going to write the rules for how things should look on your website. To add widgets to anything like WordPress or TypePad or any of those platforms, you need to go into your dashboard. The dashboard is like your back office. People who visit your website don't see this, but you do. And you can change different things like the settings on your website, whether or not people can comment. You can change and write new posts and do a lot of different things. And you should be able to find a section called widgets where you can look around and add different things. If you don't see the option you're looking for, you can download something called a plugin. A plugin is some piece of code that another designer made, and you can download it and activate it on your website. So you can play around with these things, but try to be careful because a lot of them makes it harder to load the website. Be very specific about what you need. Next, you need to get traffic. Traffic is the people who visit your website. These are the people in our house example who come to your house for the party. And if you know how to get traffic, let me know. I could use a lot more. Hopefully, this video helped you a lot. It gave you new words to talk about building a website that will help you. Do you have a website? I want to know about it. Put a link down below showing what your website is and 1 or 2 sentences in English telling me what your website is about. If you like this video, please check out my other Business English playlist, and I've included a link to one more video you might like. Like, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to this channel to help me grow English Win. See you on the next lesson.